Let's give this thrifted student chair a fresh new look by adding some cushion foam to the base and a nice new coat of color. Start out by flipping over the chair so we can see how to get this base out. In my case, there were 8 screws to take out, and there was also some old gum that I got to peel away. Yuck. First up, I'm going to trace my seat base onto the cushion foam. For this, I'm just using a permanent marker so I can trace around the edges and figure out exactly where to cut the foam so that it fits perfectly on the base. My favorite way to cut cushion foam perfectly is to use a meat cutter. Again, this is another thrifted find. You can find these used ones and just see how it just cuts like butter. So now to get this cushion onto the base, first I'm laying my fabric with the wrong side up. Now I'm putting a sheet of batting. This will help kind of cushion the foam. Now I'm placing the cushion on top of that, and then the last step is to put that wood base face down. So it's kind of like a reverse sandwich here. Now I'm going to check all my edges just to make sure I have a nice seam allowance there so that I can staple this fabric onto the base. I like to start with 1 staple on each of the 4 sides. This way I can make sure that my fabric is centered correctly, that it's not going to slide around. So after I do 1 on each side, I'm going to flip it over and make sure everything looks good, that I'm pulling the fabric tightly enough, because if you pull it too tightly, you know, it can kind of look wonky. So just get it started, make sure you're moving in the right direction, and then I like to go into the corners next, especially on a seat like this one that has all these notched corners. They're, you know, a little bit harder to do. I won't say hard, but just takes some practice. Imagine that you're wrapping a present, okay? And you want to get these nice clean pleats in there. So you're going to pull it tightly, pleat the fabric, flip it over to make sure you're going in the right direction, and then keep going with it. So again, 1 staple to hold it in place, and then once you're happy with the way, oh, dog interruption. All right, let's try again. And once you're happy with the direction that you're going in, then you're just going to go to town with the staples and just go all the way around the edges to staple it in place. All right, so I'm done stapling. I'm going to flip it over and make sure everything looks good. I don't have any weird creases or pulled too tightly in some places. Once I'm happy with it, I'm going to trim off that excess fabric and batting. Once I've got that cushion done, I can get to work painting the chair. This is the most time-consuming part of the task, but I'm saving a lot of time by using chalk paint, which only takes like 2 coats. I don't have to prime it, just paint it on. To cover up the top, I'm using Mod Podge, the furniture formula. So I'm going to apply a coat and then put the fabric on top and then seal the edges. I'm using thrifted remnant fabric that I found, so unfortunately it isn't quite enough. Ideally, I would have wanted 1 complete sheet on top there, but we're going to work with what we have. Again, I'm sealing the edges so that it'll stay adhered really nicely. This furniture formula works great. So now that all of that is done and dried, I'm going to carefully replace the base and then use the screws that I removed earlier to screw the base back in where it should be. And now I've got this fun and fabulous chair that'll be really comfy to just sit in and get your work done at.